Continuing Arizona Vote's 2024 coverage of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee from the Chris and Joe Show on KTAR News 92.3 and the KTAR News app.
You heard the breaking news. And that is that J.D. Vance is officially Donald Trump's running mate. So get your signs, get your stickers, get your hats, get your T-shirts. Trump Vance 2024. We'll get reaction from Mike Broomhead a little bit later on in the show. He is at the RNC in Milwaukee. We'll see what he has to say about this, whether he thinks this is a good pick or a misfire. You heard ABC pointing out that Vance had been a never-Trumper until he basically became an always-Trumper. Trump endorsed him in 2022. A number of articles were unearthed saying that Trump was a problem, that he was very bad. He was difficult to stomach. He was noxious. He once referred to Trump as America's Hitler. As we talk about turning down the rhetoric, here's a guy that has never turned down the rhetoric as the vice presidential pick. Once called him America's Hitler, and then after the assassination attempt on Saturday, Vance was one that was tweeting out things about blaming the Democrats and or the media for the assassination attempt. So certainly not somebody that is going to be timid in the background. This is not a Mike Pence 2.0. Fair?
You would know better than me about that. I have heard his name over the last few months as somebody who could become President Trump's VP pick. We now know that he is, and I'm just learning about him today. He's 39 years old, and one of the key messages in his book that he wrote back in 2016, I like this about him, was that only by your own willpower can Americans in economically and socially struggling regions improve their own lives. Sounds like kind of like an old school conservative.
Very rugged individualism, right?
Pick yourself up by the bootstraps. You can do it on your own, and politicians and government aren't going to be there to save you.
Sure. And I think also that this is easy for the base to swallow. I had hypothesized for a while it could be possible that Nikki Haley, who was added late to the agenda, she'll be speaking tomorrow at the RNC. I thought, why is she showing up? I even talked about this morning with Mike Broomhead. And I thought, is it possible that we're about to have a Trumpian surprise here? Which, listen, Donald Trump is pretty well known for being unpredictable. He likes the idea that people don't know what his next move might be. That's one of the things that made him so popular on his TV show, right? That you never really know what he's thinking. And I thought, is it possible that he was able to get Nikki Haley, which after the events of the weekend would show he's actually trying to find unity, he's trying to bridge across, and he's going to bring somebody else in. But I don't know that everybody in the base would have been happy with that decision. They may have rejected that because Haley was so vehemently anti-Trump during the primary process. Now they get somebody that is going to be right on the same page and kind of follow in his shadow.
People in the base may not have liked that, but I'll tell you, if you're Trump and if you're the GOP and your end goal is winning, wouldn't a move to bring in a Nikki Haley be a better move? I think it would be, because you expand the base. And people have said, hey, Trump's base, it couldn't be more fervent behind him. But the one knock on it is always, how does he grow it? How does it get any bigger? And I don't think this pick with J.D. Vance does anything to expand his base at all. It plays to it.
And I have to wonder if this is Trump on the inside who says this is the guy I want, or if this is a strategic thing where they say, look, it's going to play to the same people that we already have, but we need them to be energized and get out the vote. That's the important thing. Get out the vote. And let's remember, he's from Ohio, which is bordering two very important states, although I've never known anybody in Michigan to want to do anything that Ohio does. Mm-hmm. But maybe Pennsylvania is swayed a little bit by having somebody from their region, especially if we're talking about the blue-collar steelworkers of Pennsylvania. Now they got somebody who's a blue-collar native of the Midwest. And maybe they relate to him a little bit.
The base cares about the name on the top of the ticket,
Agreed.
Trump.
Yeah.
And as long as they see Trump, I don't think they ultimately would care what name was beneath as his VP pick. He could have picked anybody, and they might grumble about it. They might not like it, but they're gonna fill in that circle.
Let me November. Just. What is it, the Joe Huizinga move?
Pushback?
Let me give you a little Heisman on this one.
Okay.
We've never had two candidates this old before. And while I will say that after the assassination attempt on Saturday, Trump looked incredibly strong. When he popped up and raised his fist in the air, the man looked invincible. And that was the projection of strength that he wanted, right? But realistically speaking, we are talking about one person who is an octogenarian, one who will be by the time the term is up, okay? So having somebody who is both young and appears to be, I don't want to say a clone replacement, but certainly someone to whom handing the baton feels very smooth, I think is very important, and I think that does matter to the voters.
Other than all those things you just brought up about how J.D. Vance couldn't stand Trump
to
back
begin
in
with, but now he's
2016.
right in lockstep. Even Donald Trump Jr. is like, no, this is an America First guy. This is our guy.
Welcome to politics in 2024, where you hate me until you love me.
Speaking of the events over the last weekend, I got notice I was in an airport on Saturday. You popped in here and did some time with Gatos, and I appreciate that. We'll knock that off your sentence.
Got notice from Pablo as I was sitting on my couch on Saturday, and Pablo said, something's going on at a rally in Pennsylvania with the former president.
Yeah.
It's like, what? He's like, yeah, loud noises were heard.
Yeah. So this breaks, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what in the world is going on? Somebody tried to kill him. And to be honest, my first thought is this is a crazy left-winger. This is somebody who's thinking, I got to take Trump out before he could possibly win the election. That's the first thing that went through my mind.
It's a sane thought.
Except that it isn't.
It's not a sane thought, or it's not the reality of what was going on.
History should have informed me better that somebody trying to take out the president isn't necessarily somebody that wants the president out because they want the other guy in.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.